spiritual potency. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Krishna's father, his mother, his friends encountered boys and encounters all expansions of Krishna, as will be explained in the Brahma Pujamana Leela. When Brahma took away Krishna's associates to test the supremacy of Lord Krishna, the Lord expanded himself again in the forms of the many-colored eyes and calves, all of whom, as Brahma saw, were Vishnu Murtis. Devaki is also an expansion of Krishna, and therefore this verse says, Devatyam Devarupinyam Vishnu Sarvabhumasaya. The time for the Lord's appearance, the great sages and the demigods, being pleased, began to shower flowers. At the seashore, there was the sound of wild waves, and above the sea there were clouds in the sky, which began to thunder very pleasingly. When things were adjusted like this, who appeared as one of the demigoddesses, the ladies. The appearance of Lord Vishnu at that time could be compared to the rising of the full moon in the sky on the eastern horizon. The objection may be raised that since Lord Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon, there could be no rising of the full moon. The answer to this may be said that Lord Krishna appeared in the dynasty, which is in the hierarchy of the moon. Therefore, although the moon was incomplete on that night, because of the Lord's appearance in the dynasty wherein the moon is himself the original person, the moon was in an overjoyous condition, so by the grace of Krishna he could appear as a full moon, to welcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The waning moon became a full moon in jubilation. Instead of Deva Rupinyam, some texts of Srimad-Bhagavatam clearly say Vishnu Rupinyam. In either case, the meaning is that Devaki has the same spiritual form as the Lord. The Lord is Sachidananda Vigraha. Devaki is also Sachidananda Vigraha. Therefore, no one can find any fault in the way the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sachidananda Vigraha appeared from the womb of Devaki. Very important point here to understand. Devaki was also not an ordinary woman. She was also a special incarnation of the Lord's spiritual energy, not just for bringing the Lord in this world. She is also Sachidananda Vigraha. She is also a form of eternal blissful knowledge. The Lord's appearance, when he appears, he also brings his entourage with him in order to facilitate his coming. The appearance of the Lord, it says in Bhagavad Gita, is Janma Karma Chame Divya. His appearance and activities are all Divya, all transcendental. Janma Karma Chame Divyam Divam Yoge Vitatpada Chakvam Deham Kumar Janma Naiti Mahavevi. So Arjuna, if someone understands the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance and activities, then upon leaving their body, they don't come back for rebirth. They go back to Krishna. This is the wonderful thing. So we should understand very clearly how Krishna's appearance is transcendental. Because the atheist and demon to say Krishna was born like anybody else. But there's so many differences here. His mother was a transcendental personality. He came, he showed a Vishnu form, all these different things. The scriptures explain he's coming in a transcendental form, coming from the heart of Devaki to the womb of Devaki. Prabhupada explains, those who are not in full knowledge that the appearance and disappearance of the Lord are transcendental, Janma Karma Chane Divyam, are sometimes surprised that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can take birth like an ordinary child. Actually, although the Lord's birth is never ordinary, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is already situated in the core of everyone's heart, as Antaryami. the Super Soul. Thus, because he was present in full potency in devotees' heart, he was also able to appear outside the body. One of the 12 great personalities is Vishwadeva. Swayambho Narada Sambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Malado Janako Vishma. In Srimad-Bhagavatam 1.9.42, Vishma, a great authority to be followed by devotees, says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in the core of everyone's heart, just as the sun may be on everyone's head. Yet although the sun may be on the heads of millions and millions of people, this does not mean that the sun is variously situated. Similarly, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has inconceivable potencies, he can be within everyone's heart and yet not be situated variously. Ekatvam anupasyata, Ishopanishad 7. The Lord is one, but he can appear in everyone's heart by his inconceivable. Thus, although the Lord was within the heart of the devotee, he appeared as a child. According to the Vishnu Puran, therefore, as quoted in the Vaishnava Toshani, the Lord appeared like the sun. Anugraha Saya. Brahma Samhita 5.35 confirms the Lord is situated even within the atom. Anantarasta Paramam Chayantarastam. He is situated in Mathura and Vaikuntha and in the core of the heart. Therefore, one should clearly understand that he did not live like an ordinary child in the heart or the womb of Devaki, nor did he appear like an ordinary human child, although he seemed to do so, in order to bewilder asuras like Kamsa. The asuras will only think that Krishna took birth like an ordinary child, passed away from this world like an ordinary man. Such asura conceptions are rejected by persons in knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajopi Sanadayatma Bhutana Vishwaropi San. Bhagavad Gita 4.6. The state of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is Aja, unborn, and he is the supreme controller of everything. Nonetheless, he appeared as the child of Devaki. This verse describes the inconceivable potency of the Lord, who appeared like the full moon. Understanding the special significance of the appearance of the Supreme Lord, one should never regard him as having taken birth like an ordinary child. Vasudeva saw the sun appear with Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, mark of Srivatsa on his chest, Vastuba jewel around his neck, dressed in yellow garments, body blackish like a dense cloud, hair scattered, fully grown. How many babies are born with fully grown hair? Helmet earrings sparkling uncommonly. How many babies are born with helmet and earrings? He was wearing earrings with the valuable gem by Durya. He had belt, armlets, bangles, and other ornaments. He appeared just like Vishnu. This is last night Krishna appeared at midnight in the prison house. And now this morning, Jasoda and Nanda Maharaj, they woke up to find they have a new baby son, Krishna. They think that Krishna is their son. They don't know at this point that he's a stepson. So the Nanda Maharaj is rejoicing. He's giving a big charity, big feast for everyone. Today is called Nanda Mahotsav Day, the festival of Nanda Maharaj. Because he's rejoicing. He's the king, and if he has a son, then it's a big matter for everyone. Any child would have been a matter for rejoicing, especially since he needed a son. He's heir for the throne, plus something very important. So he's feeling so transcendentally happy, and he's giving huge charity. He's feeding all the people. Big feast today. So one of the tapasya's we have to do today is have a feast. How many of you are prepared to take this austerity? Now with feasting and fasting and Krishna consciousness, it's all the same. Sometimes we're fasting, sometimes we're feasting. Everything we do is only for the service of Krishna. We don't fast for other things, we don't feast for other things. Someone offers us a big feast of limited items, we won't be interested. We want only Krishna Prasad. There's where the devotees dovetail everything in Krishna's service. We feast, we fast. Sometimes people are fasting for losing weight. We read in the newspaper, especially in Singapore, so many slimming programs are there. Even people are dying trying to lose weight because of some faultiness. Here we're fasting for the pleasure of Krishna. And we're feasting also for the pleasure of Krishna. Nanda Maharaj is offering the feast to all his friends. Krishna has appeared, let's rejoice. If someone said, no, I don't want to eat your feast, he would feel offended. How many of you want to offend Nanda Maharaj? So you have to eat today. So, Prabhupada, he was so merciful that he appeared on his day. Actually, he was such a great devotee, he would have appeared at Krishna's Janmashtami. But out of respect, he delayed one day to appear today. So today we simultaneously have Vyas Puja and Krishna feast. Prabhupada appeared in the holy day of Banda Mahotsav, festival of Krishna's day after Krishna's appearance. It's a little more austere. For Prabhupada's followers, it is in the morning. Normally we're taking breakfast on the Mahotsav day. Because it's Prabhupada's appearance day, we're supposed to take this one grain or something, break the fast, and then fast for Prabhupada. Then in the afternoon we take. So Prabhupada, as he's appeared devotee of the Lord, his appearance and the activities are also special. Not exactly understandable how the Lord sends his devotee into this world in order to spread the holy message around. The life is one of preparation. It's like when Prabhupada was a little child, he saw his father was a devotee worshipping Radha and Krishna, he also wanted to worship. He asked, can I have my own deities? My children are playing, he's having his own deities and he's worshipping, that's his play. 5 years of age, he has his own deity, he passes the deity, everything. Playing deity worship. This type of characteristic when the children like spontaneously worship Krishna, chant Krishna's holy name, and all these things. This is a special sign of someone who was a devotee in a previous life, who has a tendency naturally to worship the Lord. It's customary when a child is born to do an astrological chart. This happened also with Krishna. Manu Maharaj had Raghavuni do his chart, do his astrology prediction. So Manu Maharaj said, when Raghavuni, you could see that he's got the same symptoms as Narayan. You can't tell Nanda Maharaj, your son is Narayan, although you realize it. He said, your son has got the qualities of he's going to do wonderful feats. Later, when Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill, then all the cowherd boys said, look, your son has always done amazing things. He tell us that it's anyway, it's just some accident. This time we saw him lift up a whole mountain. This is not ordinary activity that anybody can do. So how is it possible that, who is your son, tell us? So then he revealed that Garga Muni told me at the time of his birth, my son has got the powers of mind. That's why he can do wonderful things. So then people got sent out here. So in their mind, because they're all seeing Krishna as their nephew, as their village boy, they're seeing him in a very simple way. So, I think that he's a human being, but he's got the power of mind. He's been empowered like a Shakti. This is how the Brajavasis, they always see Krishna, don't see Krishna as God. We are given all this secret information, they were not aware of all these things. Scripture are telling us, we know Krishna is God, but for the Brajavasis, if everyone knows he is God, then his pastime will be very inhibited. He's coming down to play with all his friends, like the ordinary person plays. He also has his transcendental play with the children. So he wants to enjoy those pastimes. Everyone thinks he's God. Nobody will be afraid to play with him. So this putting people in a kind of illusion, where they forget he's God and they just love him according to some relationship. That's called Yoga Maya. So the pure devotees, when they appear earth, also Yoga Maya protects them. We also observe the Vyasa Puja because Guru is representing the previous acharyas. Krishna is the original Guru. And his incarnation to give Vedic knowledge to humanity is Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva has given us Vedas and writing them down. When you see the Vedas are spoken, then you have to remember. You have such good memories. Things are very peaceful, no pollution, very regulated. Now, last night I was going blind. One lady was trying to break into her car, open the doors of her car. She said she left her keys inside the car. We can't even remember to take our keys. So many things we read something, we can't remember everything. Certain percentage we forget. Every day we forget more and more. That's why we need to read every day. Nitya-Bhagavata Sevaya to refresh our memory. So many details get lost. So we need to regularly read, refresh our memory, things become relevant. So that's why the books needed to be written down. We can refer to it. Sometimes people ask me questions. They don't have the book handy. And they give their own interpretation of what the book said. I said, read the book, and then it turns out the book says something different. This is the problem. Vyasadeva wrote the Vedas down. He's Krishna's incarnation. So the Guru is living the Vedas. Says that what is the definition of an Acharya? Someone who knows the Vedas, who lives by the Vedas, practices the Vedas, and teaches the Vedas. To know them, practice it, have to teach it. Who does this is an Acharya. Whatever the Acharya is teaching, that's based on the Vedas. Books are the basis. Because the books are the basis, Vyasadeva wrote down the books of his Krishna. Therefore, Guru is considered a representative of Vyasadeva. We can experience Vyasadeva through the books, which are his written experience, written representation, and from the bona fide Guru, who is practicing what the books say. Because we are personalists, we believe in the persons. Krishna is eternal and his devotees are eternal. So every person has got some speciality. We don't like to minimize them. So on the appearance day of the Guru, the day he entered into this world, that day we respect the Vyasa Puja. Today is the double festival. Nandamotsav, Vyasa Puja. In this Vyasa Puja festival, we simultaneously offer the prasadam to Krishna and to Guru. So today we are worshipping the Guru as also a representation of Krishna. Representing Vyasa. So for us in ISKCON, because Srila Prabhupada is our founder Acharya, he is the Acharya Pratishtita. He's the one who's given us this knowledge. Actually, the knowledge has been handed down with the disciplic succession to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He established the Gaudiya Math. And after his departure, the Gaudiya Math broke up. He was fighting in the courts, and so much fighting. And so Prabhupada said that they stopped to follow the basic principles that he was teaching to some degrees. Seeing that he wanted to have an institution which was dedicated to carrying on the message and the mission of the previous acharyas without changing. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur never established any acharya. He never established the head of the institution. He had made a committee governing the body and a spiritual parliament that would, a board of directors, that would manage the institution. After he left, after some years, the previous Gaudiya Math stopped the governing body and decided to make one head. Again, it was a little more reactive, dynamic than the governing body. It's true in its time, sometimes the decisions take a while to get made. So the waits for the annual meeting has to be discussed. Sometimes it takes years to get decided. That's the disadvantage, but the advantage is that we're following the Guru and we're cautious. The decision is made usually it's after a lot of deliberation and there's a consensus among the other people. This is the way things should be. This is what Prabhupada wanted. The Gaudiya Math, one Acharya that they appointed, he was sannyasi. He ended up getting married, running off with a woman. So you can imagine the whole institution used the head to collapse. There was more fighting then. So maybe the previous, obviously, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur foresee that these things will happen. Kali Yuga. Individuals are not so strong Together as a group we are stronger. So like this, there are many things that Prabhupada did to preserve what Pastimes Saraswati Thakur had instructed. That's why we respect all the Gaudiya and everything, but we personally believe ISKCON is embodying more what Pastimes Saraswati Thakur wanted. Not superficially, but realistically. Prabhupada, he also, because he visited around the whole world and he knew what was the situation in the world, he adapted things for the modern age. Therefore, he founded a new society. And we take him as our maximum authority. So what we should do this? Everybody says about Vinod Thakur said that Guru founds branch of Chaitanya's tree. That Guru is known as Acharya, but he's the Adi Guru in the branch. He should be accepted as instructing Guru for everyone. Shiksha Guru. Principal Shiksha Guru. Not only ordinary Shiksha, but principal. Even though Shiksha Parampara, many of you are most of you except for Maharaj and one or two others, that grand disciple of Srila Prabhupada. At the same time, all of you are taking the teachings of Prabhupada. He's your Shiksha Guru. Everyone should study Prabhupada's teachings, learn it with the help of their Diksha Guru and other Diksha Gurus, become thoroughly Prabhupada conscious. What do you think, Maharaj? ISKCON, we want everyone before. There are so many books now coming from different sources, which eventually are maybe useful for us to read, but first we should thoroughly understand Prabhupada's books. Once we've read Prabhupada's books thoroughly and got a full understanding what was Prabhupada's mood, what was his teachings, then we can add to that some other sources which he has authorized. So Prabhupada, what you gain, not just a deity. Now we're seeing Prabhupada like a deity. But he was a person living in this world who acted in certain ways. And we have his life written down in books like the Lilamrita. We have some of his activities here in Malaysia, in the Malaysian, I forget what you call that book, but there's one Malaysian biography of Prabhupada visits. Prabhupada Malaysia. Prabhupada in Malaysia. We can get some information. How did Prabhupada feel? How did he act? He was such a perfect gentleman in all his dealings. He was soft like a rose. When it became some issue, a principle regarding Krishna, then he would be very harsh, not harsh, but very strong in alignment, not to compromise. Somebody gives some bogus philosophy, Krishna is like an ordinary person, he won't tolerate it. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Minimize it. I think he's some ordinary living entity. Prabhupada was very outspoken, even in his purports you can see it, to denounce the false interpretations, the wrong interpretations, which minimize Krishna's position. He was someone who was completely Krishna conscious, who was always thinking about Krishna. It's a very special experience. It's very purifying. We need that in this world. Krishna is coming once in a day of Brahma. You don't get to see Krishna all the time. Next best, we see Krishna's pure devotees. That association is purified. These pure devotees are also under the protection of Krishna's internal potency. It's like Devaki was under that potency, so varying degrees. Pure devotees are also representing that internal potency. We know they are not God. Guru is not God. He is devotee of God. But because he is a pure devotee, he is an external manifestation. God is working through him. You can hear how many devotees they came in contact with Prabhupada, how many people he left a lifelong impression. He was someone who had no doubts, clearly understood the scripture, he had no doubts about the conclusion. When you have association with someone like that who is fully realized, then it clears away all the doubts. Very easy. Srila Prabhupada, just like he is coming in the line of disciplic succession, he said in May 27, 28, Vrindavan 1977, he also wanted to have spiritual grandchildren. He wanted his disciples to initiate devotees. That his disciples would initiate devotees and they would be the disciples of his disciples, his grand disciples. Prabhupada also wanted the Guru Parampara to continue in his. This was his desire. So people present other theories. It was very clear. Throughout all of his books and all of his teachings, he has expressed this. The principle of Guru Parampara is in the presence of the Guru that the disciples try to bring the devotees to the Guru. Unless the Guru has given some special different instruction. It's the normal etiquette. In the absence of the Guru, when he leaves the world, then the disciples have the right to also initiate. If they are qualified. ISKCON, we have some local review boards who verify if somebody is qualified or not, post it. Nobody has any objection, then that person is accepted as a Guru. They have the right, if they want to know if they are qualified. Local people should know better. They are spiritually strict. Prabhupada had already given instruction, all his disciples should be Guru. He said he wants everyone to be qualified. In April, in 1977. It's a simple thing. Just repeat what the previous Guru has said. It's not a difficult and simple thing to be Guru, but simply one has to be qualified, not to add any speculation, to change anything. Present the philosophy as it is. You can see that Srila Prabhupada was a liberated personality, but he presented himself very humbly, the example of others. In 1968 he wrote, I am not claiming the Guru should be a liberated soul. There are two kinds of liberated soul. One is who is liberated like Narada Muni. He is definitely liberated by the transcendental body. Another kind of Guru is liberated by following the liberated. So like, so the Prabhupada said, my Guru was liberated, so what this Jayapatākā I am following him. I claim he liberated by following. He followed so perfectly, we can see he became fully liberated. We are also trying to follow Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON. That's our only claim. We're not claiming, we shouldn't claim that we're all liberated like Narada Muni. We're not. We can claim liberation if we follow Prabhupada. So how will we follow Prabhupada if we don't know his teachings? We should thoroughly learn from Prabhupada's representatives and read his books. Prabhupada would visit all over the world, he'd be like almost like a guest. It was his institution, he came. But he didn't get so much involved in the local management. He left that to the local GBCs and temple residents. Only if something was very obviously wrong, he would comment on it. When Srila Prabhupada visited Mayapur, this was his own temple. He was paying for it. It was his own personal project. So for us, he would always come. First day he would come, it would all be the praise, everything's so nice, thank you very much. After about 24 to 48 hours, the mood would change. Then he started thinking out what are the defects to instruct us how to do things in the right way. Say we're walking from morning walk, tap is running, drip, 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 water is falling. He said, who is responsible? Why Krishna's water is being wasted? Today, in all the World Summit is going on for the sustainable development of the world. And they say one of the big shortages the world is facing is water. As the population is increasing, in many parts of the world there is inadequate water supply. We have to conserve water. Prabhupada was so conscious, he was dripping. Few drops are being wasted. He said, why are you wasting Krishna's energy? See, the whole world can be ecological. All the rich nations, poor, they are fighting. The rich nations, they don't want to sacrifice because their economy will suffer. They're telling the poor nation, they don't cut your forest because it will harm the global warming. They don't want to cut their exhaust fuels. It's creating a big problem in the world today. Whether we'll have a world which is sustainable in the future. The have-nots and the haves, they're fighting. The haves and the haves are also fighting. Europe wants more restriction. America doesn't want to restrict. So we're reading the paper. Oh, no, I'm not there. This is a big world issue today. Conservation. But if everyone understood the basic point that Prabhupada taught, Bhaktaram Jagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Krishna is the proprietor. This is the universal law. What is it? No government has a right to exploit nature beyond a certain point. They don't have the right. It's God's property, not their personal property. It doesn't belong to America or any country in this world. The whole world belongs to Jagannath. Jagannath Swami ki. They don't have the right to misuse the Lord's property. If the Krishna conscious viewpoint is established in the world, you have no problem for ecology. The universal law, the whole world, what can be done, what can't be done. World should not be slaughtered out for someone's economic development at the cost of the whole future of humanity and the whole future of the world. This is what they're reading. Good luck. But they don't have this vision that the world belongs not to the individual nations. They're trying to say collectively, it's the whole. Collectively, the world belongs to humanity. It's not true. We are maybe custodians. Humanity is custodians of the world, but the proprietor is Krishna. We are killing so many species of life by cutting so many forests and by exploiting. So Prabhupada, he was so careful, not even a drop. When he was putting tilak, if somebody dropping water, he said, don't waste the water. How many drops you spill when you put on tilak? Prabhupada would take his envelopes and open them up and use the inside of the envelope for scrap paper. So don't throw it, we'll use it. Not to misuse again. So carefully, was so frugal not to misuse any of Krishna's. These things you have to see it. I saw it and you can hardly believe it, how someone was so careful not to waste any of Krishna's energy. We were walking in Mayapur. The whole Mayapur, we had grown all kinds of crops and gardens. But there was about 1 10-foot square in one corner by the back of the temple. There was just some weeds going. So why you are not using this? Grow a tree, plant some bush, do something, don't just leave the weeds growing. That was Srila Prabhupada. A big detail he was saying in Mayapur. So that one place he was teaching us so that we can learn from the whole world. We know that we could digest it. So he was teaching us. What he was trying to point with the water dripping, he said that then someone pointed out, Jayapataka Swami, he's the temple president, he's responsible, he's board director. The Prabhupada was, like standing next to Prabhupada, he knows what I am doing. He said, no, he's responsible for everything. Who's the local authority responsible for everything, but he should delegate individual departments to individual people. So I want to know who is it delegated to see for the water. That person is responsible. And the president should see he does his duty. Prabhupada didn't believe that it should be one-man show, that everything should be delegated, should be division of labor, and the president should be there overseeing that people do their service. But everything should be departmentalized. That way things can go on very smoothly. Just like Krishna departmentalized the universe. Vayu Day, Agni Day, every department they have one day. So like that, Prabhupada was so many things you can show them on the management, or you can show in his personal feelings, how he sometimes heard the devotee had left, he went to Maya, and he was crying and saying wow and beg him to come back to Krishna consciousness. He done so much service. Try to give him another chance, give him another opportunity. But also very merciful, very grateful. Anyone did something, he would congratulate them. Thank you for helping me. This appreciation that he showered on devotees, or do you think that was encouraging to them? Prabhupada was showering so much appreciation on different devotees. They find it enlivening. Sometimes the devotees leave this because they think nobody appreciates them. Prabhupada he would appreciate, it was like Ashutosh, just like Shiva appreciated, even the blood is dripping on the linga, he's appreciating. The Lord is giving me a cool bath. Like that, Prabhupada was so merciful. Any service someone did for Krishna, he appreciated. In New York, one time, one guy walked into the temple, big Afro-American with the maybe like basketball player over 6'1.5" or something, like almost 2 meters or more. Must weigh maybe 300 pounds, like over 250 kilos or something, 150 kilos. This huge guy came in with a box, walked right in the temple with his shoes on. So everybody was offended, why is he walking in the temple with his shoes? Prabhupada said, sir, yes, what do you want? He said, I brought this for you. Oh, Brahmananda, see what it is. Looked, it was a box of toilet paper. So okay, put it by the toilet. Thank you very much. The guy turned around and walked off. The Prabhupada said, my service attitude. Doesn't know you don't wear shoes in the temple, all these things you don't know. But he came to offer some service. So Prabhupada, out of all the things he picked out, what is the good thing? He has a good service attitude. He came to do some seva. He didn't know all the etiquette and everything, but his purpose was just to serve. So that's the thing Prabhupada picked out. Prabhupada would find a little spark in every person where they want to serve Krishna, and he'd fan that spark. And the person would get so enlightened, the spark would become like a burning fire. They become fired up to serve Krishna, enthusiastic to serve Krishna. We can somehow try to follow in Prabhupada's footsteps to encourage the people that we come in contact to serve Krishna. Whatever little they do, they do anything, that's also glorious. Because most people, they do zero for Krishna. How many people serve God? Everyone's worrying about how to serve their own senses. No time, no time, no time. That's the mantra. No time for Krishna. No time to chant, to study, and to work. Everything for sense gratification. No time for Krishna. They don't know that Krishna is their real self-interest. They're missing out. So somebody is giving some time. So the students chanting one round, that's very glorious. Something they're doing. Doing 4 hours better. Some students doing 16 rounds, super. They're side by side seeing their material education and their spiritual development. Like this, Prabhupada would appreciate everyone according to something they're doing, all need appreciate. You can imagine if someone did something very glorious, he would be so much happy. When they brought Prabhupada the books, they publish in the BBT every year in Mayapur and come to Warpuri when they bring a stack of books. When Prabhupada saw that how these books, he said, this is so pleasing to my spiritual master. He wanted so much that his books should be published in the different languages. Sometimes he would start crying. Tears would be pouring from his eyes. He's so happy to see these books. He commented that when he hears the book scores, how many books are being distributed that also gave him life. Very liking him that those people are taking the books. You like to hear the reports how the preaching is going on. This way, for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, also we have the congregational preaching newsletter now, so we can read the Prabhupada, the regular reports. How the congregational preaching is going. I can go on talking about Prabhupada unlimited. But you all know about other devotees, Krishna system is at some point in time people offer hommages. They also express their realization, how they have benefited from Prabhupada, or realization, may God is unlimited what we can say, but it doesn't always be said by one person. Various people can. We're also anxious to see what realization the grand disciples are getting from their service to Prabhupada. Because you're the future generation. You're already what we call endangered species. We're not going to be here forever in the physical form, in my spirit, but not in the physical. It is important for us that the grand disciples should pick up. This is how the grand disciples are very important because those who are Prabhupada disciples, they directly had experience about Prabhupada. You got experience directly from those who had experience. So your understanding will be more accurate, more running. Then next generation, they already, after this, they won't have the direct information. So you hear from someone who saw or someone who heard from someone who saw. This is the more accurate. It's up to you how to squeeze out all the information you can from the Prabhupada disciple. Just like a calf is sucking out the milk from the cow. How much juice and milk nectar you can squeeze out? You should be eager to squeeze as much juice you can get, suck as much milk you can get. You can't shove it down your throat. You have to want it. You have the appetite. While we're here, try to get as much information, as much understanding as you can. Your full capacity, so that you can have that and you preserve it in your own heart by discussing it regularly and keeping it fresh. So we continue it in the next generation. You'll all be the responsible people to carry it on. So, generally, even in Mayapur, there's plenty of Prabhupada disciples in Mayapur, maybe about 50 or more. Still, there are so many devotees. We hear from Prabhupada disciples, we also hear from the grand disciples. We hear from them, we hear from women. But everybody have a chance to express. Usually that's very little time. Also, many temples, they publish a local Vyas Puja book. But the local devotees write their homages and put in a book form. Then the worldwide, they also have a Vyas Puja book where readers can send in their homages. In Mayapur, we have a local Vyas Puja book. All the devotees can have it in from their offerings. You look here, local Vyas Puja. So anyway, today since we have a double festival. So remember how Krishna is rejoicing, and for ISKCON it's also a big day of rejoicing. We're rejoicing the presence of Krishna in the world and Krishna's pure devotee. Someone organizing these things? Organizing this. I was with Srila Prabhupada in Montreal in 1968. Then he was very merciful to me. He told me that you come and you assist my secretaries. Sometimes after finishing my work in the temple, I go and I can get some personal service for Prabhupada. One time they said that originally Prabhupada was wearing this black-dyed clothing. There was a kind of mati in India called Gera mati, some kind of earth. And that earth you just rub it in the water, two stones. And gradually the color would come in the water, you put the white cloth in that, and the cloth would get colored. But this was not a permanent dye. When you wash the cloth, that come out. You have a spot, and you wash the spot, and you have a white spot. But it was last for some time, semi-permanent. Later, Prabhupada accepted the permanent, because traveling around it was difficult with this kind of okay if you're in an ashram in India. But if you're traveling around the world, you need that. Get the cloth dyed, put in the washing machine, all the color will come out on this era. We were at that time using this color. So I was in the bathtub, rubbing these rocks in the water. Prabhupada would come in to see whether it had become colored enough to dye the cloth. You have to actually have a very high percentage of that rock dissolved. So we are rubbing and rubbing these two rocks, trying to dissolve it in the water. It was not dissolving very fast. The good one, you have to rub more. The one that comes out, that stays in the cloth longer. So meanwhile, Prabhupada went down to the basement for some reason. I don't know, the secretary went down to see what's in the basement. We were on the first floor that was also underground. We came out and the secretary came and said, oh, in the basement Prabhupada was walking, one rat jumped out. So it was very frightening. All of a sudden we don't expect it. Suddenly some animal jump out, you feel like some shock, surprise. You fear what? You don't know what animal it is, suddenly something jumping at you. He said, when the animal jumped, Prabhupada said, Hare Ram! Immediate reaction, Hare Ram! Ram is the protector. So then the secretary was very impressed how immediately some danger came. You don't know, first you don't know what, it takes some moment to realize what is it jumping at you? What's that? Immediately it's Hare Ram. So then Prabhupada came in the room and then he was, okay, now finally we got the color thick enough. We had to dye his dhoti, chadar, everything, hanging up. Now we figured out the mix was light color, blue reddish, not pinkish, more reddish. So one time the Bhagavani, he purchased some Mercedes-Benz small micro vans. In Germany, he drove them overland to India. Then he was doing library party with Prabhu Vishnu Swami. Was one of his library party leaders. He had maybe 6 vans, I think. 6 or 3, I think 6 actually. He sent a 6 party, Ilapati, who became later Bhakti Vikas Swami. All they were doing library party, whatever. Pretty top people at that time were under Bhagavani. Later became top people, but they were, when secret devotees, they were all going out, and they knew this was pleasing to Prabhupada. They had to go and speak to the librarians, convince them to buy the whole set. This way they are putting in all the libraries around India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, different places to bring. So they brought these vans over. That time Hansaruta, he had one big bus. He was doing a traveling festival party. So Bhagavani had all his vans lined up for the book distribution. Then Hansaruta had his one big bus. So then Prabhupada told us, no, I think that Bhagavani has defeated me. He's expanded more. Sometimes Prabhupada would use this brotherly competition to inspire. Before Hansaruta was doing this festival party, it was a big thing.
Thank you for watching our videos. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.